The Senate will come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Senators Baisley, Bridges, Buckner, Coleman, Cutter, Danielson, Exum, Senator Exum, Fields, Gardner, Senator Gardner,
Excused.
Janal, Gonzalez, Hanson, Henriksen, Hackers Lewis. Kirkmeyer. Colker. Liston. Lundin. Marchman. Michelson Janae. Malika. Pelton B. Pelton R. Priola. Rich. Roberts. Rodriguez. Simpson. Smallwood. Sullivan. Van Winkle. Will. Winter.
Excused.
Zenzinger.
Excused.
Mr. President.
Here. The morning roll call is 32 present, 0 absent, 3 excused. We do have a quorum. Senator Malika, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Approval of the journal. Senator Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate Journal of February 23rd, 2024 be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? No. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Senate Services.
February 26, 2024, correctly engrossed Senate Bill 73 and 83, Senate Joint Resolution 10, correctly revised House Bill 1047 and 48, correctly revised House Bills 1016, 1042, and 1091, correctly enrolled Senate Bills 30, 51, and 58.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we proceed out of order for personal privilege.
The motion before the body is for the Senate to proceed out of order for purposes of a tribute. All those in favor say aye.
Tribute.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it. The Senate will now proceed out of order. Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. President, and members, thank you for taking a moment to join me in this important tribute this morning. I am very pleased to welcome our guests from the Canadian Consul General's office and the Consul General himself. I am so glad they are here today. We are celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Canadian Ministry of Foreign Affairs having a Consul General stationed here in Denver, working hard in this region to improve relationships across our friends to the north, that border. And I've got just a few things I wanted to share with regards to this tribute. You're all familiar, I'm guessing, with the huge number of ties that we have. They're economic, they're security and military partnerships, energy, environment, and culture. We have the largest comprehensive global trade relationship with Canada, $2.5 billion per day moving back and forth across our northern border. Colorado and Canada share a long history of cooperation as well. It's about $8 billion a year in trade annually just between our great state and Canada. And of course, our members from the Colorado Springs area, you know about NORAD and the North American Defense Command, 60 years running cooperation between the Canadian Armed Forces and the U.S. Armed Forces, keeping our country and our continent safe. The Consul General of Canada opened its doors here in 2004. It's helped maintain strong political, economic, and military cultural ties between Canada and Colorado ever since. And so today I ask you to join me in this tribute from the General Assembly in recognition of this hard work and as we continue to strengthen this bilateral relationship. So members, please help me in welcoming the Consul General and his staff from Canada. And Mr. President, I wonder if we might have just a short recess to be able to allow members to greet our guests.
The Senate will stand in a brief recess to greet our guests. The Senate will come back to order. Thank you to our guests for joining us on the Senate floor. I kind of thought Miss America would look a little different. I thought it was funny. Will the clerk please add Senator Gardner to the roll? Or not. Third reading of bills, consent calendar.
Will you move to proceed out of order? For what? Mr. America to read her tribute.
Oh, she says, oh, that's okay.
Yes, sing it.
We're still out of.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we proceed out of order to take up a tribute.
The motion is for the Senate to continue to proceed out of order for purposes of another tribute. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will now proceed out of order. Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Colleagues, members, as you know, we are privileged to have with us today Second Lieutenant Madison Marsh, who was crowned Miss America 2024, the first Miss Colorado in 50 years, and the first ever active duty service member and active duty Air Force officer to win this title. Madison founded the Whitney Marsh Foundation, honoring her mother who died of pancreatic cancer in 2018, and the foundation has raised over $300,000 for oncology research. Madison was inspired by Space Camp with their passion for flying and is a licensed private pilot. In 2019, she was appointed to the United States Air Force Academy, was recognized as a National Truman Scholar and two-time National Astronaut Scholar. She's achieved 8 Dean's List recognitions at the Air Force Academy and completed a NASA internship for gamma-ray burst research. She obviously did better on the hard sciences than yours truly did at the Academy. She graduated with a degree in physics and is now a graduate intern at Harvard Medical School while pursuing a master's in public policy at the Harvard Kennedy School. As Miss America, she's going to emphasize international policy for pancreatic cancer. Madison embodies service and excellence in both her military career and her philanthropic endeavors. And we honor her this morning and are privileged to have her as our guest. Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome, Lieutenant Madison Marsh, Miss America 2024.
Third reading of bills, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the title of the bill on the consent calendar?
House Bill 1047 by Representatives McCormick and Catlin and Senators Roberts and Simpson, concerning the scope of practice for veterinary technicians and in connection therewith directing the State Board of Veterinary Medicine to promulgate rules regarding the supervision of and the delegation of certain tasks to veterinary technician specialists, or other personnel by a licensed veterinarian, and establishing a veterinary technician specialist designation.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the passage of House Bill 1047 on third reading of bills consent calendar.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of House Bill 1047 on third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes? Senators Baisley. Oh yeah, we're on consent. What are you doing? What am I doing? If there are any no votes on House Bill 1047, we need you to come to the well. It's Monday. Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think with the presence of the pilot in the room, it distracted us to the point where we did not do things properly. So I would request to be a no vote on House Bill 1047, please.
Senator Baisley will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1047. With a vote of 32 ayes, 1 no, 0 absent, 2 excused, House Bill 1047 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Priola, Danielson, Pelton, B, Hanson, Pelton R, Will, Liston, Janal, Marchman, Michelson Janae, Kirkmeyer, Fields, third reading of bills, final passage. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1048?
House Bill 1048, Representatives McCormick and Martinez, Senators Janal and Pelton B, concerning the provision of veterinary services through telehealth.
Senator Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 2411, or I'm sorry, House Bill 241048 for third and final passage.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1048. Are there any no votes? Senators Priola, Fields, with a vote of 31 ayes, 2 no, 0 absent, 2 excused, House Bill 1048 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Danielson, Kirkmeyer, Roberts, Colker, Marchman, Jaquez Lewis, Hanson, Pelton R, Bridges, Will, Van Winkle, will the clerk please add Senator Winter to the roll? Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 73?
Senate Bill 73 by Senator Smallwood and Rodriguez and Representative Velasco concerning a change to the maximum number of employees that an employer may employ to qualify as a small employer for health care insurance coverage.
Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 73 on third reading and final passage. Ask for an aye vote.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 73. Are there any no votes? Senators Roberts, with a vote of 33 ayes, 1 no, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 73 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Bridges, Malika, Exum, Kirkmeyer, Janal, Hanson, Buckner, Priola, Cutter, Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we lay over Senate Bill 83 until Tuesday, February 27th.
Motion is to lay over Senate Bill 83 until tomorrow? Tomorrow, February 27th. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 83 will lay over until tomorrow. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that general orders, second readings of bills lay over until tomorrow, February 27th.
The motion is to lay over general order second reading of bills until tomorrow, February 27th. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and general order second reading of bills will lay over until tomorrow. Consideration of resolutions. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Joint Resolution 9?
Senate Joint Resolution 9 by Senators Fenberg and Lundin and Representatives McCluskey and Pugliese concerning changes to the joint rules of the Senate and House of Representatives regarding workplace policies.
Senator Fenberg,
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Resolution 9.
will the clerk please read Senate Joint? No? Okay. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, specifically not requesting it be read at length.
I can do that.
Members, Senate Joint Resolution 9 is a resolution that comes from the Executive Committee. As you can see, it is about changes to our joint rules of the Senate and the House. This is specifically around our workplace policies here. You all probably remember several years ago we added joint rules around harassment and conduct here in the General Assembly. And I think it's a good thing that we are taking a look at it, and it's evolving and sort of as slow as maybe sometimes this workplace moves. It's good for it for us to help it catch up to modern day and practices out there in the real world. And this is in response mostly due to a couple of bills that were passed last year. I forget the bill numbers, but it is what is referred to as the Power Act. That many in this chamber worked very hard on. And it is also a bill about reforming the Colorado Open Records Act, specifically when it comes to the public's access to a report of a sexual harassment or misconduct allegation. This resolution does not change the law. It simply applies the law that we all passed to the General Assembly. And it is simply a cleanup and modernization to make sure that we're following the same laws that we pass for the private sector.
Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I would add my comments to those of the President. SJR 24009 and SR 24002, a companion Senate resolution, address cleaning up and bringing, I would say, the standards that we as members are required to live to as high as what this chamber has enforced through the Power Act on the general public and the businesses of Colorado. I think it's critically important that not only should our standards be equal to, but I think we should hold ourselves to a higher standard. This does not necessarily do that, but we can do that by volition and by our own personal choices, and I would encourage each and every one of us to do that. But these would bring our rules in alignment with the Power Act here within this chamber and here within this building. I urge your support ultimately of 002, the Senate resolution, but now we are discussing 009, the Senate joint resolution with the House.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 009. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Senate Joint Resolution 009 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senators Winter, Gonzalez, Bridges, Rodriguez. Mr. You're already on it. Priola, Michelson Janae, Colker, Kirkmeyer, Exum, Smallwood, Janal, Mullica, Roberts, Hanson, Jaquez Lewis, Hendrickson, Cutter, Marchman, Fields, Buckner, Pelton B. Please add the president. Will the clerk please read the title of Senate Resolution 002?
Senate Resolution 002 by Senators Fenberg and Lundin concerning changes to the rules of the Senate regarding access to documents related to a complaint under the workplace harassment policy.
Mr. Minority Leader,
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Resolution 24002.
is there any discussion?
Colleagues, as I mentioned earlier, this is a companion bill to the resolution we just passed unanimously. I would call out the fact that you will see Senate Bill 160 coming through the chamber at some point in the near future, which also is part and parcel of this conversation, and a cleanup and acknowledgement of the fact that the open records laws also intersect with some of these elements that are in these resolutions, and we will be seeking to align that as well through Senate Bill 160 in the future.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of Senate Resolution 002. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 aye, 0 no, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Senate Resolution 002 is adopted. Co-sponsors, Senators Winter, Marchman, Cutter, Michelson-Janae, Henriksen, Buckner, Priola, Jaquez Lewis, Bridges, Fields, Colker, Janal, Gonzalez, Kirkmeyer, Smallwood, Exum, Mullica, Roberts, Hanson. Please add the president.
Consideration of governor's appointments, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read all of the appointments listed on the consent calendar?
Members of the Board of Trustees for the University of Northern Colorado, effective January 1, 2024, for terms expiring December 31, 2027. Maya A. Babs of Golden, Colorado, reappointed. Shashwata Pratik Dutta of Denver, Colorado, reappointed. Members of the Energy Impact Assistance Advisory Committee for terms expiring August 24, 2027. Joseph Redmond of Hayden, Colorado, reappointed. Tricia Stiles of Aurora, Colorado, reappointed. Member of the Colorado Educational and Cultural Facilities Authority Board of Directors for term expiring June 30, 2027. Indira Dugirala. Okay. Forgive me? Just those first two.
You are forgiven. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the confirmation of all the appointments listed on the consent calendar, which includes Maya Babs of Golden, Shashwata Dutta of Denver for the Board of Trustees for University of Northern Colorado, Joseph Redmond of Hayden, Tricia Stiles of Aurora, Energy Impact Assistance Advisory Committee, and that's it.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the confirmation of all the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 1 excused, the appointments are confirmed. Consideration of governor's appointments. Will the clerk please read the appointment to the Colorado Educational and Cultural Facilities Authority Board of Directors?
For term expiring June 30, 2027, Indira Dugirala of Highlands Ranch, Colorado, appointed.
Senator Buckner.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. I move for the confirmation of Indira Dugirala as a member of the Colorado Educational and Cultural Facilities Authority Board of Directors.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the confirmation of the governor's appointment to the Colorado Educational and Cultural Facilities Authority Board of Directors. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 1 excused. The appointment is confirmed. Signing of bills.
February 26, 2024, the President has signed SJR 7.
Message from the House.
February 26, 2024, the House has adopted and transmits herewith House Joint Resolution 1018 as amended and printed in the House Journal, February 26, 2024.
Announcements. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I ask for a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, come down here today with some sad news from my district and my community. We lost over the weekend a first responder in the line of duty on Friday. Steve Zuckerman was a paramedic with the Eagle County Paramedic Services, and he died on Friday while conducting a backcountry rescue to save somebody else. Steve had served with the Eagle County Paramedics since 2008 and was a full-time employee since 2013, where he saved countless lives and served his community every day. Steve, on behalf of the district, in a recent Facebook post before he passed, wrote about his love for EMS, and he said, "EMS is a team sport, and I work on an amazing team. Each day brings new challenges and new opportunities to practice the field of emergency medicine and to make a small difference." Steve made not just a small difference, but a big difference, an enormous one in his community. So colleagues, today I ask that you hold Steve, his family, and the entire community in your thoughts and prayers. And Mr. President, I'd like to ask for a brief moment of silence and for the chimes to ring.
Senate will observe a moment of silence and the chimes will ring.
Thank you, colleagues.
Senator Buckner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Education Committee will meet at 1:30. We have appointments for community colleges and private occupational school boards, and we're going to lay over Senate Bill 21-132, but we will hear Senate Bill 049. Thank you.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues on the Senate Judiciary Committee, we will be meeting today at 1:30 in the Old Supreme Court to hear appointments for the Juvenile Parole Board and the State Board of Parole as well. Thereafter, we will hear House Bill 1013 and Senate Bill 119 in that order. Thank you.
Senator Fields.
Good morning, Mr. President, colleagues. I have requested to be excused tomorrow.
Senator Fields will be marked as excused tomorrow.
News to you?
Have fun.
Jan and I just have committee stuff. You can go first. We just have committee stuff.
I didn't want to be in the way.
Senator Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to let everybody know tomorrow is Bible study down in the basement, 7:15. Come on down and feed your soul and feed your belly.
Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to make a quick announcement. The Senate Business, Labor, and Technology Committee will be meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m., but we have a change in the calendar. We'll be laying over Senate Bill 81 till March 7th and laying over Senate Bill 149 till March 5th. Thank you.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a heads up to members of the Appropriations Committee, we will almost certainly be meeting on Friday this week. We do not have the list of bills yet, but want to make sure that you know, as soon as I know, that we are likely to be here early in the morning on Friday.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate recess until 12 p.m. today. Colleagues, you do not need to return. We'll just be doing some administrative bill reading across the desk. Have a good day.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and the Senate will recess until 12 p.m. today.